Welcome back, everybody, to the Precedent Minds of the Mavericks. My name is Amina, and today we are wrapping up our session with Blake Carter. Last week, we spoke about her struggles, how she got into the industry, things that she still faces, and today we are talking about how she got to where she is and all of the cool things that she's up to. I do want to give a trigger warning for this episode. Sexual assault is discussed. Not from either of us. It's not a personal story, rather. It is about the Liam Neeson story about his friend who was assaulted some years back. So I wanted to make sure that was announced before the episode. And with that being said, let's get into today's episode with Blake Carter. So part two, it's all about innovation. Because I think that you're such a maverick in your field. Hell yeah, girl. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, perfectly. Okay, so I couldn't hear you. And I was like, can you hear me? So funny.
I'm just smiling and nodding.
Yeah, so I want to say, you've created such a name for yourself beyond your persona, right? Do you view Blake Carter and Blake Carter yourself and Blake Carter, the radio host, as two different people or the same person?
That's, what's so funny is if you listen to the show, I do a whole psychic segment, but I'm also very into psychics. And I had a psychic once be like, you have an issue with the real you and then Blake Carter on the radio and you need to do some sort of ceremony where you bring them together. And I was like, do I have an issue? It gets blurred for me because I share so much. Obviously I filter what I share.
Of course.
I seem like I have no filter, but that's my not filteredness is filtered. But I do try to be as real as I can. So I do share a lot of personal stuff. So it's still a very similar, I would just say the Blake Carter on the radio and that you meet at events and stuff is way more outgoing and friendly. Whereas the Blake that comes home to her dog sometimes is just no one talk to me, just leave me alone. I can be very extrovert and very introvert. So yeah. I'm still I'm not over faking it when you hear me on the radio or overdoing it or establishing stories to be more that's me. That's how I am. I'm nuts, but I'm just more. No, I'm crazy outside of that too. But I just wouldn't show up to my show, whichever show I'm on, whichever radio station. I wouldn't show up like one of my lower moods. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah, and what I was getting at too is you've made you're active in the community, you've made a name for yourself beyond radio, right? Because it's recently you were at Devontae Woe's show at the Regulars, or when Six Buzz had
Devontae's girlfriend Sasha was performing. I love them. Yeah, they're the cutest hip hop couple of all time.
They're super.
Don't know who they are. Devontae Woe and Sasha. They just moved to LA. I'm so sad.
Wow,
it's good for them. Good for them. Their careers.
Seriously, I love that because I like their dynamic together.
How they support each other. At her show that night. Cute. Sasha's performing and Devontae's singing. He's at the side of the stage and he's singing every word. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Beautiful. They're a beautiful couple. They're super inspiring.
And not even music, but in community too, because Six Buzz and DJ Charlie B had these back to school drive, and it's even posting about it you were there, and there was
I just went and piggybacked on what they were doing. To be perfectly honest,
I don't think it's piggybacking. I think you're undermining yourself because it's you're there, you're engaging with the community. Obviously, you have a name, you have a platform, and you're using
I just feel especially if you have a platform where you can and you're willing and able to help, why not? That's always 100%. Been my favorite thing about meeting people and knowing lots of people is connecting people. If I can help you out, if I know of a job or a girlfriend that I think you'd get along with really well or could help you with your podcast or help you with that, that's just naturally how I've always been. Yeah. I've had a lot of friends, met a lot of different people, and I love to connect people. And if I can help, I might not have millions of dollars to donate to your charity, but if I can show up and help hand some things out, or I also work with, I haven't done anything with them in a while. I need to step that up, Save Our Scruff, a dog rescue. But if I can just share dogs that need to be fostered or adopted and I can help in some small way, why not? Why do I don't need however many followers just to pat me on the back. Yeah. If I've got the reach, let's do something with it. Let's help out something to do with charity, or let's make some money for somebody else's business or my own business. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I love that you said, because I want to know, talk to us about the importance of building the network you did. And it's kind of also, why is it you chose to build your network the way you did?
I think Honestly, so important. Like I didn't realize, so going back to the first episode with you where I did talk about like how I got into radio, how I was a receptionist, and then from just talking to people in the office and made a comment in front of the right person who ended up putting me on the morning show. If I hadn't, I didn't realize at the time what I was doing was networking. Every time someone came past my receptionist desk, whether it was like a one of the music reps or something like that, someone from the label, an artist, I just talked. So I was like, hey, what's up? Nice to meet you. And I remember they used to bring in for the jocks, like back in the day, they'd bring you CDs. Like now they just email you the music. But back in my day, you actually got a CD. And everyone at the office thought it was so funny because they would always bring in CD packs for the music director and the on-air jocks. And then I would get one because I made friends with all the reps. So then the receptionist and my girlfriend who did reception before me was like, I never used to get this stuff because I just spoke to everybody. I had more perks as the receptionist at that station than I've had actually being on the radio because I just made friends with everybody. So for me, I wouldn't be where I am right now if I didn't smile and say hello and talk to people, because like that's how I even got the receptionist job. I was like briefly dating this weirdo. He introduced me to his female friend. And me and her hit it off right away, became best friends at some dirty hip hop club. And she's like, hey, I'm leaving this reception job. You should come and do an interview for it. So just, like, you know what I mean? You never know who you're going to meet. You never know if that drunk girl in the bathroom is going to one day put you on to another job, or you're going to connect and maybe do a show together. Like, you just don't know. I think it's so important to just use the resources that are right in front of your face, whether it's your own office at work. And you don't know when the delivery guy comes in, he might be the next biggest artist about to pop off. You don't know who anybody is, right? So I always joke like I don't like people, but I guess at my core, I do really like people. And I just think I've just made a huge point of trying to talk to everyone. I don't care what level you're at. And also, like, a way I've noticed that I've really grown my own social media is that, and it gets tiring some days because I don't want to talk to people some days. And once you respond once, then people keep coming. But I talk to people. People are always shocked when I answer a DM. I'm like, yeah, of course. Like if I see it, if it's it, because like, you know, there's other
absolutely.
Sometimes it gets lost in the abyss. But I really try to respond to every person. If you took the time out to follow me and to send me a message, good or bad, I got to give you the same time back to respond to you. Especially if you are a fan of the show and you listen. Thank you. Like, you are the reason I have a job and can pay my bills. So it's on me. And even with our show, we use our text message system. For me, it's my favorite thing because it's like people are live texting our show. We're getting in the moment reactions and emotions from our show. So I will go back and try to text. I try to text every person who texts back the show. I text back.
Yeah.
And just keep building that network and keep, you know, putting yourself out there.
I love that you described it the way, because we met through the Lola's Girl Connected program.
Yeah.
And throughout that 5 months that I was in the program, literally every person that came on the show, and this is extremely important for the entertainment industry, everybody literally was like, it's about building genuine relationships. Don't just automatically go to somebody and be like, yo, here's my music. I don't know who you are. You don't know what I do. Like, none of that stuff. It's like, build a genuine connection. And an artist I'm working with now, Rehome, his team, he has he had literally no marketing, 20 million streams on Apple Music alone. And it's through relationships. And his music is brilliant. I genuinely love his music. And like Joven, his manager, who is like my mentor, also was just like, yo, it was building relationships. Like, we became friends with people, and like that's why people wanted to fuck with us. And I was like,
I think that is freaking key, everything. Golden rule right there. Just freaking make real relationships with people. Or if you're really good at it, I guess fake it. But it is like exactly to your point, like, because people just be like, here, put my music on the radio. I'm just gonna roll my eyes and keep going. 100%. But when I actually know an artist or know that person personally, or I've met them at an event, or maybe, and that's another thing too, is like, people want your support, but then they don't support you. That's something I will always check. Now, I've learned this. When people reach out to me and they want something, first thing I do is I look at their account. Do they follow me? Do they really listen to my show?
Yeah.
You want me to promote your song and your music and your event, but you don't even follow me?
Yeah. What is that? Like, yeah, you're a leech, bro. Like,
that's the thing. So, and before I used to just like, okay, say yes to everything. And now I'm like, yes, I still like to interact and stuff like that. But like, if you don't even, you're up my ass to play your song and you don't even follow me or follow Flow. So
yeah,
100%. You want my support, but you don't support me?
Yeah, 100%. And like, it was so funny. I was working at this restaurant, and it was Mastermind who just like, it was my first day. He walked in and I was like, oh, what the hell? And he was taking a meeting with Anders. And I was
Okay.
like, okay, so people are building. I didn't ask anything. I just recognized the faces. And I was like, yeah, like these people are building a relationship. Like they're out for
Yeah.
dinner. Like that's sick.
That's
Like
how you do it. And like speaking of Mastermind, so I first met Mastermind in Calgary. We were on competing
sick.
stations. And I didn't know him. He was on the other station and I was kind of intimidated by him. And so when I moved to Toronto, he was on Flow and I was on Chum. And that's when we kind of built a relationship. We were like, hey, we know each other from Calgary, but I was scared of you and never spoke to you before. He's the biggest sweetheart of all time. So knowing him, and then I became friends with him, and then I went on to Kiss, but it was through talking to Mastermind that I found out that they were possibly interested in me to do the morning show on Flow. And so then that connected me back to Flow. But having that relation, because like Mastermind called me, we were on the phone forever talking about if I should make the move and come over from this station to this station. And so again, it was just that relationship. And Mastermind's really great because like, you know, he's been in this industry, like he's the OG,
Yeah.
the OGs. And he is still out there making relationships, trying to help other artists come up, trying to help people where he can. Like
Yeah.
he is so good at that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely adore him. I think he's brilliant. Like I went into this huge black hole one day and I was like, whoa, my brain. It's like this is too much. Like because it was just so exciting to see. And like I love that you said that too, because it's like I think that some people once they get established, they're kind of like, okay, well, people will come to me. And it's like, no, you have to be going to those shows. Like
No, you gotta be
have to
out
be
there and like
innovative.
I people get very confused with well, they don't know my job. I don't know what people do, like what the Scotiabank teller's doing. I don't know exactly what they do, but people just assume like jocks on the radio that we're just playing all the music and doing whatever we want and we're just, you know, fucking doing whatever. No, it's like yes, it sounds like sometimes we're
100%.
joking around, but that's organized joking around. And there's a music director, there's a program director, and there's all these steps before your music makes it on the radio that we don't even really have any control of. But because I don't have that control, I have to make it a point on my end. That's my responsibility to be learning about new music, learning about the local artists. If I can show up to their shows, I will go and I'll show my support as much as I can. If maybe I can't get your song played on the radio just yet, I'll share it on my social media if I can. I'll do like my little part because I hope, and I don't just do it to get things back, but that's just the way I am. But also then I hope you support me too.
Yeah,
You listen
100%.
to my show. Maybe you'll help me get ratings. And if you're a dope
Yeah.
artist, I want people to hear you. I want to put people onto you.
Yeah. And like in a time where it's like so easy to produce content now, because like things like TikTok and Instagram Reels, we're just, oh my God, we're just overwhelmed by like music.
Yes. Overwhelmed
Like
is right.
shows. Like I've just started my own show. Like in terms of video too, it's like how also you mentioned this too with like radio being unpredictable a bit because of COVID. Obviously, I'm assuming radio makes money from advertisement.
Yeah, that's how radio makes their money from advertising. So especially like radio's always been unpredictable and media is always unpredictable. Like you'll probably
Yeah.
notice like your favorite hosts from TV or radio will just be gone one day. They clean house, they switch things up. That's kind of it
Yeah.
sucks, but that's just this industry. Sorry, where was I going with the start of this now? What was the first question?
I was just saying like I didn't even get to a question. So like people are creating so much content. My thing is like, how have you adapted this current market to maintain stability?
That's the other thing. Okay, sorry. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say about COVID is so because of COVID, people weren't driving to work. People aren't
Yeah.
listening to radios. Businesses aren't open. The businesses that advertise. So that really screwed us because who's going to have money for advertising dollars when they can't even open their business?
Yeah.
So a lot of people radio stations have had to adapt the way they do things. A lot of people are broadcasting from home now and doing home studios and stuff like that. But with social media, with TikTok, with Reels, and I'm trying, okay? Like I did one TikTok, oh my gosh, and I did one Reel. I'm trying to get better at them, but you have to. Like I'm doing it begrudgingly, but like this is life. You have to, you know what I mean? Like everything progresses. Like people are like, oh, radio is going to die and no, we're still there. So you have that medium, but you have to get good at the other mediums too. You can't just show up and do a radio show now and not have social media and not check tweets and not check texts and just walk out of there. That's not the way it is. Like this job has turned into a completely different job. Like it does not end when you leave the station. Like it continues. And that's the same for any kind of influencer, podcast person, anyone that has like, you know what I mean, some sort of entertainment following. You have to just get good at this stuff and familiar with it.
Yeah, because I find that like you put out content also, like I'm following your day-to-day life. Here I am stalking you. Like I'm following your day-to-day
I
life.
stalk you too. Yeah.
I follow your day-to-day life where like you guys are out, like you guys are having fun, like you were getting your brows done recently, and like you're telling us about those things. And it's like, yeah, like you've
And see, like that girl, that's a girl, Brittany, who owns Be Beautiful Salon. I just used to walk past her little salon slash store
yeah.
to my yoga class. And I finally just went in there one day and was like, hey, like, what do you have going on here? And so I became friends with her. And now she invites me to these brow events. Like the brow event that she does for October is awesome because it gives back to breast cancer.
Yes.
But I have that relationship with her just because I went into her store and started talking to her. That wasn't even a PR thing. That wasn't through work. That wasn't through anything. And then we formed a relationship. And now I'm able to help promote her charity stuff, but also help promote her business.
Yeah.
He's just really trying. Can you hear him? Click, clack.
A bit. I didn't even take it on.
Yeah. And also, too, again, like when you're saying like you're always out doing things, I just find that funny. Because also, like the perception of social media is just that. Like you think I'm always out doing like say even for the brow thing, I was there for maybe 20 minutes. Like,
yeah.
But it looks like but you got to get those posts out there and you got to share what you're doing.
For sure. Like when you and Peter go out for like drinks or like you're at a restaurant, is that like is that something you guys came up with together, or is just like we're friends outside of work also? So it's
actually kind of funny because we've been doing this thing with Cavassier. There's 5 cassette, so 5 to 7 happy hour, and that's a promotion through Cavassier. So they've set it up with different restaurants in the city, and like Peter, like it's the best promotion ever because Peter and I just get to show up and have a few drinks and hang out with people and meet people. But the perception, like someone messaged me this past week when we were at one, and it was just like, how do you guys figure out where you're going to go? You guys just end up at the same place on the same. I'm like, no, like this is planned. Like we know where we have to be. We don't plan it. It goes through our team and through the reps and stuff like that. And we kind of just like show up and do our thing, which is awesome. But to the public, people just think we're just the best of friends that love to drink Cavassier once a week.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is so nice. Like I would love to hang out with my coworker. Like,
well, and not that we're not that we like. Trust me, I do love to drink.
No,
Cavassier,
yeah.
But that's like an organized thing through, because like we're promoting Cavassier and we're promoting whichever place. Like where were we at? We were at Barlow one week. We've been at we've been at all different places, Lavelle, like a bunch of places. So we're promoting both of them. But at the same time, I'm very lucky I work with my best friend, because that's not always the case. Like sometimes people you can't, like you have to do a show with someone that you can't stand, so it's not as fun. And then that's where you're really faking it on social media. Fortunately, you're seeing real on you'll see me and Peter fight on social media. We're a little too real sometimes.
Yeah. And I want to go into then you guys have great chemistry, which is super dope, and it's very apparent, right? Because it's like you can tell when people don't.
Yeah. You can.
Oh my God. Like, how do you guys come up with content? Because the morning show runs Monday to Friday, 6 to 12. That's 6 hours a day of coming up with stuff. And I used to listen to the morning show. You guys were my choice when I was commuting to work, because I was just the stories here and the conversation here, I feel like I'm with my friends. Like I'm at the table.
No, that's what we want. That is our biggest compliment, when people just feel like they're listening to their talk. I don't think we're very conventional. We're not everyone has a different way of doing things. And I think everybody, the way you study with your homework or do it, everybody studies different. Everybody learns different. Everybody does a show differently. So some radio jocks are super hyper planned out. And I know our bosses want us to be like this. So bosses, if you're listening right now, or you watch this podcast, yes, we definitely plan everything out. But and so I feel like some radio hosts literally have scripts of what everything is planned to a T, fake phone calls, this, that. Peter and I think it's also because we're kind of procrastinators. And we're better on the fly. A lot of content is planned out. When we are doing bigger things, we kind of know where we want to go or what we want to do. But
there's an outline, maybe more so.
Yeah, we have an outline. We usually know the day before what we're going to do the next day. But so many times we'll be on the phone with one of our bosses and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, that must have been planned. That had to be a fake call." And I'm like, "No, that was real. That's just our listeners. That's just the way they are." We've built a relationship with people that they're comfortable enough to share this crazy stuff with us. And also, again, going back to I'm lucky that Peter has become my best friend, because it's not always that easy. And even when me and Peter first started doing the show together, we were friends, but it wasn't that easy. Peter was used to doing the show by himself. He'd been doing radio for 10 years, all on his own, and doing these quick intros and extras and like smaller content. Now he's put on a show where he has to go back and forth with somebody and learn how to like edit his like it's completely. So we definitely had like growing pains when we first started together, and like just learning how to go back and forth properly and not talk over each other, and like when to like let the other person kind of take the lead or the shine and just let them have it, because you don't and then because I've worked with people where they just always want to be the star and like
Absolutely.
can't let you have the last word or the joke. So like if you joke and you're done the break, they have to come back with something else because they can't let you have it. So we're really lucky that we have natural chemistry. So it's just easy. And so like literally you could put me and Peter on the radio with no practice, no planning, nothing, and just give us something random to talk about and we can just go. We are very lucky that we are like that together, because it's not like that with everybody. I've worked with other people where I have to really plan the content. And, when you're trying, like our show right now has a lot of features, so we don't have as much time to do the crazy topics we used to do, but that is a lot, like trying to come up with like fresh, new content every day, personable stuff.
Yeah.
It can be a lot, but you just really take from your life. And I feel like I'm just kind of always, I wouldn't say I'm always working, I'm always observing. Like you have to know when you're around me. Like I was messaging with my girlfriend today. She wanted me to send her the audio that I played of her on Friday on the show, because she's away in Portugal and she went on a Hinge date and she was wasted and she kept sending me voice notes. So I took the voice notes and I played them on the show because it was hilarious. And I'm like, that's what you have to understand. If you're my friend and you're in my life,
fair game, baby.
If you say something hilarious or horrific or stupid, it's probably going to end up on my show. I'm always like, you might even see me out sometimes and I have like little notes and I'll just be like, I got to remember that joke that you made or this scenario that happened at the bar with a guy. Like you're just really taking from your everyday life.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's what separates you. Because again, like when I was commuting every day, sure, I might switch stations for whatever song.
Yeah.
But like I go back to listening to something because I'm like, I'm in my car now talking as if you guys are in the back seat with me. And like, maybe I'm crazy, but like, it's just like, it sparks.
No, but that's how I want it to be. And that's what people say to us. And I don't know if that might be speaking to the fact that I didn't go to school and I didn't really have radio training. So when because people be like, well, do your radio voice. Well, this is my voice. Like, this is, do you know what I mean? This is how I am. Yes, I've gotten better at what I do. I know how to deliver things more concisely. I can get to the point and tell a story a little better. Like I've had to work on those skills, but for the most part, this is me and that's Peter. Like we are just like, and it works.
I think that's really important too. It's funny because like I just like applied for like a random like radio host job recently, just like a weekend thing. And the dude first thing was like, oh, do you have like a background in it? And I was like, I think you're already behind if you're asking me that. Because the thing is, it's like you either have it or you don't. Like if you're going to school, sure, it's going to give you some skills, fine.
Yeah.
Like
I am living proof that like, and I'm not discrediting school and stuff like that, but I believe some people have it or they don't, because like I've worked with people that their work ethic is there and they want it so badly, but it doesn't, and they work really hard to be good at what they do, but they just don't fully they have to work that hard. Do you know what I mean? Whereas some people, it kind of just comes naturally. And I definitely don't think in any industry at this point, you have to, unless like, like obviously a doctor needs to go to school for specific
I say that all the time.
But do you know what I mean? Like being in entertainment, whether you're an influencer on the radio, on a TV show, and like how many times have people had no acting experience and now they're the biggest actors ever? So I was really lucky that someone gave me a chance to learn on the job and learn on site. And I took it and went with it, because like I so don't think, especially in radio, and I wish more program directors would take chances on people that are personalities and not just came from radio school, radio host. Just because you got the diploma and took all doesn't mean you have a personality.
Yeah. How do you and I want to ask that too then, like how did you then leverage your personality?
I think
you've done such a good job at it.
I just think what I've learned, and whenever I interview people, whenever I ask them like what's like your biggest like your key to like how you got to where you are, it's always like don't take no for an answer. Just keep applying. Like one of my friends, Fearless Fred, who's on the edge, or no, he's not on the edge anymore. Where is he now? He's moved. Anyway, Fearless Fred, he's big in the city. People know who he is. Before he got on the air, he used to harass my current boss like every day. Showed up like, help. I want to get on the radio. I want to get on the radio. And he got turned away so many times. And I'm not saying show up at a radio station and harass the boss. Can't do that now during COVID. But you just have to be okay with being told no. And then if they say no, be like, okay, yes, I don't have experience, but can you just listen to the demo I made? Make a demo, and like your work will speak for itself. Maybe you haven't actually had a radio show, but you've made this fake demo radio show that sounds like you already had it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like that a lot because, like, again, like I genuinely think in today's time, unless you're a doctor or a lawyer, if you're asking for people's school credentials, you're behind.
No,
Like you're not kept up with the times. Like you're gonna be left behind essentially. And
exactly.
that's it.
So just don't take no for an answer. Keep
Yeah,
pushing. Be like, please, just like give me it. And then if that one door is closed, just go to a different one. Just keep
yeah,
pushing.
yeah. And in last episode, we spoke about social media, and like I want to like you're a tastemaker, right? Because it's like I think people will follow suit with what you do because you're also posting about music, ventures, like products that I don't like products.
My Instagram, my social media is so random, and it's like definitely something I'm like, maybe I need to like narrow it down and figure out what my brand is and that. And definitely social media keeps me up at night. But at the same time, then I'm like, I'm so strange because like I'm super like hypersensitive about things, and then I also don't give a fuck. Like I have this really weird balance of just through it.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, that's the thing. I think like so many people are so curated, and like that's what's nice about you is that like I get a mix of everything from you.
Yeah, and I thank you for saying, because I struggle with that because obviously like I'm still trying to get the blue check mark. I don't understand why they will not give it to me. But I want to be able to like monetize my social media. I want to be able to monetize everything. I need money.
Yeah.
But I also don't, for me personally, and this is no judgment to anybody else how they run their page, I can't ever be that like super perfect, like, and here's my product. And it's like that's just not me. That's just not me.
Yeah.
So I struggle with like keeping it like real and authentic, but then at the same time, like your girl needs to make some money. So
Yeah.
sometimes I do have to do advertisements and stuff, but it's finding a balance, I think.
Yeah. And
which I'm still working on and still haven't really figured out.
Would you say it didn't come naturally, or it just like you just worked at it to get to where you are now?
Oh yeah, like my social media is a complete mismatch. I don't even know what it is. Like I keep deleting photos and adding. I'm like I still like right now my plan is to maybe try to work with somebody to help me actually kind of like flesh it out. Because like I'll go to someone's page that has like aesthetically like all the color tones match.
Yeah.
And I want that. I would love that. But like that's just not like I'm not as good at that.
I think like yeah, what's funny too is like literally everything you've said verbatim, because like at one point I was like, oh yeah, I want to be a friggin' social media influencer, like that's what I want for my life. And then I was like, honestly, I just don't have it in me, and like that's not how my brain works to have like the same color palette going through. Like I'm a person like that.
No, and like
in color.
Some days I'm sharing new hip hop, some days I'm sharing God quotes, some days I'm sharing my niece, some days my ex, which my mom hates. Like I think it's like a really good, I hope that it makes sense to people with mine, that I'm just kind of trying to do a little bit of I'm trying to be real. I'm trying to give you my social media. And while I would like the advertising dollars, I personally I will mute people or unfollow when it's just constant advertising, constant fakes, not fake them. Well, you're faking it because you're just hawking different products.
Yeah.
And I know Kim Kardashian actually, and I was Kim Kardashian. It's funny because she's someone I actually unfollowed when I think in the last episode we were talking about like not following people that don't make you feel good. And she's someone that I actually did unfollow because I was just like got sick of seeing it. Although I do really like how her Instagram, while the pictures and stuff are curated perfect, she still does share kids, sexiness, products, fashion. She kind of goes all over, but something she always talks about in interviews that she credits Kanye to is helping her like actually figure out what her brand is and say no to things. Because she said like in the beginning she would hawk anything, whatever anybody threw at her, she would try to sell that in her advertising. And it's like, but if that's not like, that doesn't resonate with you, that's not your vibe, that's not something, if you wouldn't actually use that hair product, why are you trying to sell it?
Yeah. And I think it's an important one too, because so my first episode, I speak with their friends Tina and James, and last year they went viral. They have 600,000 followers now, and I saw it from the beginning. They started at 1,500. Actually, it wasn't even that. Tina was private, and she's like, "I think I want to go public. Amina, should I do this?" I was like, "Absolutely,
yes,
do that." And she worked at it, and then for them, they tapped into the Persian community, which I don't think is very mainstream, and they have a huge following now, and they only get products like they only advertise products that they care for, but we were talking about like this world of people who just think influencing is selling products. They become a walking billboard, and there's nothing.
Yeah, no, and I don't. That's exactly what I don't want.
Yeah, there's nothing to resonate with. Why am I following you? You're going to tell me about this alcohol brand and then this hair care thing, and it's like you don't even have hair. Like what? Like this doesn't
make any sense. No, and that's what I really hope like mine never becomes like that. Like not like anybody's like throwing
I'll call you out.
Right yeah, no, call me out because I personally don't love that. I hope that I can just promote brands and stuff that actually like resonate with me, and it's part of me learning to like say no to things, and is a lot of people, because I do connect and talk to people, and I post a lot of different businesses, people just assume I post everything. So I like, so often people are like, post my t-shirt, post my this, I'll send you a free this. And I'm like, I'm good. I do not need any more promo t-shirts. Like I work in radio. All I have are band t-shirts and promo t-shirts.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I can't post it unless it's like something like it's a friend of mine personally or something I really, really use. And like half the stuff I post, I am not getting paid for. I'd say probably 75, probably 85, maybe even 95% of what I post is not paid. It's just stuff I really like.
Would you consider working with an agency to like help navigate those?
Yeah, that's actually what I'm working on right now. Is I'm trying to find the right agency to work with, and just because I'm not really good at tech, and I'm still learning social media and learning because it changes. Like there's new stuff every day. There's new algorithms. There's new like what works, what doesn't.
Yeah.
So I would love help. So I'm currently trying to find like, do I work with an agency, or do I get maybe a social media team, or do I get just an agent, or whatever it is. Yeah, I definitely think we always need help. And if you don't know, ask the experts who do know.
I love that. I think, and that's I think also part of the innovator part that like I really, really wanted to touch on in general with this podcast is because everybody just has this like, not everybody, there's this huge facade that's up that it's like, yeah, I just made it. I knew what I was doing. There was no hard work involved. There was no struggling at all. And it's like, even as an innovator, as you grow,
I'm struggling today. Like there's still struggles. I still don't know where my life is going. And like, I want to do so many more things, and I'm trying right now. And like, I come home most days from work feeling like I didn't do enough and I need to do more. And what else could I be doing? And I really have to tell myself like, chill.
Yeah.
Especially working a morning show. Like when you come home and you have an afternoon off, you kind of almost feel this guilt, and people just think like, oh, so you just work till 10 a.m. and you're done and you just do whatever. No. There's a lot more that goes into it. There's a lot more prepping, planning, and meetings and stuff like that. But then I also feel like, hey, while I have this extra time, I need to be doing more.
Do you nap throughout the day? That's just like
I love naps. I don't nap every day, but I sleep better when I take a nap, because at night I worry. Sorry?
What's your schedule like?
My schedule? So like it's day to day is different. So like some days we have meetings after the show. Some days we have to record different things. Like I do a lot of commercials on the station, or we're planning different bits, or we're recording interviews. So some days we can piece out right when we're done off air because we got everything done and we're good. Other days we might be there till 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, like still figuring things out. Then once you leave, you're not just off the hook. Like if my boss emails me, I still need to be able to respond, you know what I mean? Or pick up phone calls and stuff like that. But, I always think like I'm going to have so much time, but you think because of how early I finish that I have like hours. Yeah. No, because like by the time you get home, I don't get like my commute isn't that far, but by the time I commute home, I've got 2 old dogs. I got to deal with my dogs and take them out. And then I respond to emails. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like already 3:34. And I haven't done like half of the things I wanted to do yet today. Yeah. So my schedule is definitely every day it's different. I never know. So I try to like
bed really early every day.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I've always had issues with sleeping. I'm a night owl. I don't sleep very well. I wake up lots. And especially when doing a morning show, I tend to wake up a lot and check the time and worry, like, am I going to sleep in?
Yeah.
So I find that I get the deepest sleeps when I take a nap. So if I have time for a nap, I take a nap and I'm out, because then that night I might not go to bed. Like, should I go to bed early? Yes, I try. Some nights I want to go to bed at 6 p.m. I'm done and I'm tired. Some nights I'm up till 10, 11. It just.
Is it like like you can't relax at night?
Yes. I can never relax.
I actually don't sleep. I haven't slept properly for like 5 years.
Really?
I just started taking ashwagandha and magnesium at night because it helps with hormone and it helps. Ashwagandha helps with.
I didn't know that helped with sleep. I thought that helped with like anxieties and hormones and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's your hormone balancement. But yeah, this is now a side note. But yes, I will text you. I'll text you all these things because
text me everything you're taking, because my whole life, like since I was a kid, like my parents apparently used to hate having me sleep over because like I'd keep everyone up at night because I couldn't sleep. So I would just like keep talking and keep the kids going.
Yeah.
My whole life I never stay. I have sleeping pills. I have everything.
This is literally the first week I've slept throughout the night, like maintained sleep throughout the night.
My goal, my dream would be to go to bed, fall asleep, and wake up when my alarm went off, and not wake up 30 times before my alarm.
That happened to me this morning. I was also excited about this conversation. So like, I couldn't believe I slept. Like, I couldn't believe I slept.
Really, you had the best sleep. Yes. Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm gonna make sure I message you all this stuff. And I want to go back to something you said, like, do you have like when you have days where you're like, shoot, I could have done better on the show, how do you give yourself constructive criticism versus berating yourself? Or do you do like how, like,
yeah, and I think again that comes with time and with age, and like because like I would again like if something bad happened on the show, I'd say one wrong thing, and even going back to when you were talking about cancel culture and stuff in the last episode, I would say one thing that maybe someone misheard, and then I'm getting attacked, and I'm I'll never forget. I was sharing the story of Liam Neeson when do you remember when it came out? He admitted that his friend had been raped by someone. And so he went out and he shared this on a talk show that because his friend said she had been raped by a black man, that he went out and wanted to kill any black person he saw because he was so enraged that his friend had been raped. And then he said in this show, he's like, I realized that was racist and I realized that was wrong and blah, blah, blah. So I'm telling this story. I'm just telling the story. And this woman thinks that I'm like agreeing with him. And anyway, she totally misheard it. And she sent me messages like this long, how I should be ashamed of myself. And I am racist and I'm this and I'm that. And oh my goodness, I think I was sick about that all weekend. Like just in my stomach, anxious. Am I going to be canceled? And then I'm second guessing everything I said. I even went back and listened to the audio. Like, did I say that? And no, I didn't. Like people mishear shit all the time and people are going to hear what they want to hear. Right. So as long as I know I'm good, okay, I gotta like let it go. Same with like mean comments online. Like I see them and I'm just like it bothers you for a second, but you have to let it go because I cannot let it. It used to really consume me before and it would ruin my whole day and ruin my whole weekend. And you can't.
Yeah.
If I know then also if I did fuck up and I did say something wrong, I have to go back like the way I am. I have to go and make it right and be like, you know what? I said this yesterday and that wasn't really right, or I'm feeling bad about that. So I just don't, I try to correct it. But yeah, there's definitely days where you come home and what happened on the show weighs on you. And then I don't know if this is the best way to handle it, but I will take a nap. Like my naps for me or how I see it, like I think of them as like recharging. So if I'm having a really bad day and shit's not going right, okay, I'm going to check out, even if it's an hour or a half an hour, I'm going to take a nap, refresh, recharge, and then start again.
And I think that's like very productive. People like always shit on naps, but like y'all are missing out. Like
I need sleep. I'm a tired kid, and then like that night I probably won't sleep that well. So my nap is like my best thing, and then I'll wake up. And then sometimes you don't wake up in a better mood, and sometimes you're lazier. You never know. But for me, I'll just try to like sleep it off. I'm very lazy.
It was interesting. I was watching Lil Nas X on The Breakfast Club, and he was saying like people will cancel you just because they don't like you already. Like if they already don't like you, they're just going to cancel you. And obviously, like unfortunately, there's going to be people who are like, well, I can't
definitely
X, like Y, Z. But it's like
trust. I see so many comments like that, like online. Not so many, not like tons of people are attacking me all the time, but I'll read comments like, oh, I can't stand Blake and Peter, but then I don't listen to radio. So
how? What is this?
The radio? How do you know you can't stand us? Right?
Yeah.
So that's also the other thing too. And going back to stuff we talked about earlier as well, like there's always a reason when somebody is negative or doesn't like you or is bullying you or whatever, there's always a reason going on with them. Mm-hmm. So maybe you did say something to offend them, or maybe you look like their ex-girlfriend, or maybe you seem like someone who was mean to them one time. Yeah. So people are going to make up their opinion of you and you can't change it.
Yeah.
You don't control yourself. And trust me, I'm saying all this stuff and I'm sounding like I don't have it figured out because it still breaks me down. But from where I was even a year ago, I'm so much stronger. Like I'm constantly working at being able to be like, okay, wait, this is actually an issue. What people are saying is because you've got to humble yourself and be like, I was wrong, or I shouldn't have said it that way, or whatever. But also let it roll off your back. It doesn't matter. Like
100%. And I like that because it's like, if you're, again, we spoke about last episode, you're in the public eye. So it's like everything you do is scrutinized essentially. So it's like, you need to have that, like that.
And it also, and just like the cancel culture, like how I was saying in the last episode, how it only lasts for like a week or 2 months or whatever. Same with my job. Like I'll think something was so big. I fucked up so badly on Monday. I can't believe I said this and I introed that wrong, or I said that. You think anybody cares by Tuesday? Okay, so maybe Tuesday people are still making fun of me or bringing it up. I think Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no, it's gone. Everyone is so distracted and busy and got their own things going on. you know what I mean? Like you're really the only one carrying that for as long
Absolutely.
as, you know?
Yeah. And as you're a public speaker, I want to talk about this because this is something that always renders in my head. A professor was talking to me about filler words, like the use of like
Yes. Oh my gosh.
and it's
Crutches.
because because we're trying to think, right? We're speaking too fast before we can think. As a professional speaker, and I think this is important for anybody within media, especially artists too, how do you work on that? Like, how did you get media training and stuff?
First of all,
Sorry, did you get media training?
no media training. My job is my media training, but like I learned on the spot. But it's funny that you say like professional speaker because like the joke on the show is like I'm so terrible.
What?
I'm always slurring. I'm always mispronouncing things. But like that's like just like part of how I am because I get really excited and I talk too fast and then I'll trip over my words. So
I'm the same way.
but the thing is that I think I might do differently than I've noticed sometimes when I listen to other talks is like I'll call it out, like or Peter will call it out and we'll laugh about it and like, oh my gosh, Blake can't speak again. Whereas other people will just try to hide it and keep going. And I'm like, no, just laugh. Like you messed up.
Yeah, it's weird that it's awkward. Like your brain was just trying to think
talk,
a little bit,
you know?
it?
So and like we do shout outs on our show and people want shout outs with different names. And like we live in such a cool, diverse city. So there's so many different cultures and so many different names. Well, I can't pronounce all of them. So just tell me how to pronounce it because I don't want to mess up people's names, right?
That's another one. 100%. Like just correct.
I try not to, but now it's become a thing where people are like, we just want to see how you think it's pronounced. They're like, Blake, just take a stab at it. So they just think but that's the thing is people have gotten to know me and know I mess everything up. So they're like, then they'll give me the correct. But as far as like, because in radio, well, I guess everyone calls it something different, filler or crutches. Really you start, and I know one of mine is like, I say like all the time. And when I listen back to interviews or audio of myself, I'm like, ooh, I hate it. I cringe. It's first like for us, your boss will call you out. Like we have air checks where every so often our boss pulls up audio, plays it back and we go over it. And so that's like you have a meeting like that once a week where they go over the audio of your show and they'll call you out and say, do you know you keep saying this? And it's a crutch of yours. You keep using certain sayings. You got to stop. It's funny though, because sometimes though that these crutches can become like your thing. Like Peter always goes, so before he starts anything, and it used to drive me insane. I'm like, so what? So what? And one of our old bosses, same thing. She used to be like, you got to stop saying that. Just get to the point. But it's truly become Peter's thing. Like people know him for it. You know, it's become like endearing. So sometimes you can take your crutch or your filler word and make it your thing. Other times it's really just about training yourself not to do it. You know, and when you listen back to audio and you're like, oh, I don't want to be the girl that's like and like and like and like. And so I still work at it every day. And the you're thinking it's live. You know what I think we have to just be like more forgiving of natural things. Like unless you're reading from a teleprompter and it's supposed to be perfect.
Yeah.
You're going to put filler words in.
Absolutely.
But you'll notice. And I think we all go through phases where like you use, different words, you know, within your friend group, 100%. Like different words are kind of cool at the moment and you're always saying it. And I'll notice that too. Like I've got to stop saying, I don't know, whatever it is, like no cap or something. And then I'm like, oh my God, like I don't say that, but you know what I mean? Like I said it 30 times in a 2-minute break. Why did I keep saying that? So it's just really you have to be conscious of yourself and catch yourself when you do. Like even now that we're talking about this, I am trying as hard as I can not to say like. And it is killing me.
That same professor, he would literally have people stand up for a minute and speak. And as soon as you said a filler word, you'd be out. And it's so hard.
And that's what I did. You know what? That's crazy because that's what I did in acting in an improv class.
Oh.
They would have you like you have to tell a whole story and you can't say or like.
Yeah.
And as soon as you do, you're out. And so I did a lot of games like that.
And it's funny because it ended up making people slow down, which is actually smart, right? Because it's like I think we're always in a rush to like get our points out. That's why we have those filler words, but we fear slowing down, I guess, dead air.
And you also fear really thinking about what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Because then you might get trapped. But no, like, especially if you're on the radio, you should already kind of know what you're going to say before you go live. So you should have it figured out. And getting rid of the filler words, like that's just like such a small thing. Like that'll come naturally. Eventually it'll be gone. But I definitely even notice it too outside of radio with like artists when they swear a lot in their songs. We're just like, we know you didn't have anything to say. Like, you didn't come up when it's like F this, F that, motherfuck this, that. It's like, hey, like, where are your lyrics? Like, trust me, I swear all the time, but when somebody has to keep putting swearing in, like we kind of can tell right away when we especially listen to new music, we're like, all right, they're a lyricist is not their thing because they're
Yeah.
just throwing in cuss words, you know what I mean, for the effect.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even think, yeah, wow. That's gonna change the way I look at music now.
Yeah, and trust me, like I have the worst. I honestly don't know how I don't swear on the radio every day because
That's
in real life,
wild
like
to me.
I'm a sailor. Like I'm terrible, but Peter and I noticed, especially because we have to like clean up a lot of new music because it doesn't come clean. We're just like,
Oh, you guys do it
holy.
yourself.
Not usually when new music comes out that we play, usually the record label will send you an edited
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
version. But sometimes like on a new music Friday when we don't have it yet from the record labels, we've got to do it ourselves. And
Oh,
that's when you really notice like, holy, they had nothing to say because the whole song is just like beep, 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 and beep,
yeah.
and beep, and beep, and beep. Yeah. And so
Wow.
like to me, that's like a sign of when an artist like really doesn't have that much to say or isn't good
Yeah,
with their lyrics. They're
100%.
just throwing in cuss words.
100%. And adding on to flavors, I find that like mostly women do this, and I think it's a confidence thing. We'll explain a thought and be like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
But and then,
You get that?
yeah. And like I think what we assume we're doing is clarifying our point, but in actuality, we're undermining ourselves because we're like, well, we couldn't explain this clearly enough. And it's an ingrained confidence
And
thing.
you're also just used to being like a nurturer and a caregiver, and we're just like, we want to make sure everyone understood. Really,
Yeah.
it is a loving thing too, like where you just want to, okay, was that okay? Did everyone understand? Did everyone get that?
Yeah. Do you find you do that?
Um, not, that's funny because literally this morning I couldn't make any sense. I was trying to explain projection screen is what I was trying to get to, and I just couldn't. I was like a wall, and like there's a light on it, and and I was just going in circles, and I'm like, I'm not making sense. Like I'm not at all. I don't know if that's something I do. I guess maybe I don't care as much if people understand.
No, that's
I'll
good because
ask.
like my friends and I were talking about a politician, can't remember the name, and she was up against men and she was reading off of her paper because she was trying to ensure that her points got across clearly.
Yeah.
But in turn, she ended up looking scared or like
Yeah.
I don't even know what the word is.
Or intimidated.
Yeah. And like I think it's a problem that like we don't even realize happens because we're actually by society told we shouldn't be as confident. Like obviously we spoke this earlier where women aren't supposed to be confident, but like, yeah, how do you avoid that? Like, have you built the confidence essentially to be like, yo, what I'm saying makes sense, it's important, and it needs to be heard?
You just do it. I just do it. I just say it. I just make sure that, well, look, if I'm not too sure about something, I'm not going to speak on it. I'm not going to be over on my soapbox. Like I know what my strengths and weaknesses are, and I'm not going to go off on something if I don't really have the facts or have a strong passion for it. So if I'm kind of confused about something or not as confident about it, maybe I'll leave it for my co-host to talk about, or maybe we just won't touch that subject because I don't want to feel stupid when I'm on the radio. Or again, I think I said this, I don't remember what it was about, but go to the expert. If you don't really know about something or something intimidates you or makes you not as confident, get an expert on to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I just don't want to put myself in a situation to look stupid or offend people because I'm saying the wrong information. So I think for me, if I'm not sure about something, I'll try to learn about it first, or I won't talk about it. Or maybe Peter is better at explaining this particular thing, so I let him do it.
And I think that's important that like you recognize that, because obviously some people will just talk out of their ass and you're like, why are you trying to school me on what I know? Like, you're not coming across the way you think you are.
No,
so like,
and I don't ever want to do that. And like when people get up on that soapbox and they're just going in circles and you're like, all right, wrap it up. So I try not to speak on things I don't know about. And sometimes you just got to fake it. If you're not feeling that confident or you're nervous, just fake it. Don't ever let them see that. You know what I mean? You just got to like fake it till you make it.
I want to wrap up.
Or not fake it till you make it. You've already made it. You're already there. You have the job, whatever it is. If you're standing in front of a room full of people speaking, you've been hired for this gig. If you're on the radio, if you're hosting, whatever, you got to fucking do it. If you wanted to be in this medium of work, you want to be in entertainment, sorry, sweetie, like you got to just do it.
Absolutely. I love that. And I want to end off the episode. I think it's so important to celebrate yourself. So ending it off, I want to know a humble brag, something you're proud of, anything.
Oh my goodness. I think in general, I am just really proud. I guess like I've shared my kind of my journey, my story with you. And I think about it all the time, like where the hell would I be if I didn't get that first if Kid Carson didn't put me on the radio as the hot
Yeah.
receptionist, making a comment about a postal worker, where would I be now? And I'm just really proud of myself that also I was given an opportunity because I could have been given that morning show and fucked off and done whatever and not learned anything and just, left that job and done something like that. I've taken anything that's been kind of given to me and I've really like ran with it. And,
Yeah.
and I think I'll always be able to do that. And because like, you don't know what's going to happen. The future's not promised. I might lose my job tomorrow. You never know. I will be okay. I've learned that in this industry. I'll find another job. There's always something. I'll adapt and I'll figure it out.
Amazing. I love that. Blake, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. We could just keep going. I could talk to you all day.
I would love to. Seriously, honestly, I would love to. I would literally